So, hello and welcome. Last day of BTC Prague, so let's end it on a banger. Privacy, it's an important part that's so easy forgotten. And so let's talk about the beginner's guide of how to protect your wealth. And as you see, this is not only about Bitcoin, right? Privacy is an integral part to Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not work without privacy. But privacy is much more than just Bitcoin. It's about your physical security as well. It's about protecting your friends and your family and your loved ones. Right? So why does privacy actually matter? It's because privacy is not secrecy, it is security. Right? Without privacy, you cannot be secure. Because if an adversary knows where you are, who you are, how much you have, whom you talk to, then it's very easy, very cheap to come and harm you. Right? So here, privacy is an integral part because it increases the cost of attack and decreases the cost of defense. And this is game theoretically quite straightforward to make sure that we're all protected after all. So privacy is the power to selectively reveal yourself to the world, as it's so beautifully written in the Cypherpunk Manifesto. And that choice of whom you tell what is quite inherent to the human experience, and again, quite essential to Bitcoin as a technology. We have a lot of problems if we trust third parties to protect our privacy and security. Sure, you can use a custodial exchange, a custodial third-party wallet to protect your Bitcoin, but that comes with numerous downsides. Right? All of a sudden, they can run away with your money. They can get hacked, and the hacker runs away with your money. Right? And of course, you don't have any privacy against these third parties, so they know exactly how much Bitcoin you have, when you got them, whom you're sending them to. Right? And that all of a sudden makes you quite a juicy target, especially if you're holding large amounts on these wallets. Right? So when digital privacy fails, we also have physical problems. Right? Just recently, there was an OnlyFans girl who showed her Coinbase account in one of her live streams, and the next day, a couple thugs showed up and with a $5 wrench, trying to get her to send the money to them. Thankfully, she was protected in physical space. She actually had a gun, and so she shot the attackers, and they fled. So this shows that if you do reveal too much about yourself, this can have physical consequences for you and your loved ones and your neighbors. So this is really an important part, and the ideology of privacy is ancient. This is not something that Bitcoiners came up with. This is something that for millennia we've protected our security with secret words and handshakes. But then the cypherpunks really made it clear that we have the ability to selectively reveal ourselves, especially in cyberspace, where we have strong encryption, anonymous remailers, and ways to talk to another computer without anyone else knowing. So self-custody is the crucial part of Bitcoin, right? And this means that we can get freedom, security, and privacy in our own hands without trusting any third party. This is the key innovation of Bitcoin, to be able to hold the base money in cyberspace without any trusted intermediaries, without any trusted third parties. And this are three important rules of how to keep your Bitcoin safe. First of all, use a hardware wallet. That's a dedicated computer designed from the ground up to protect your secrets and make sure that only you have access to them. Consider multi-signature, right? Make it such that one device can no longer by itself spend your money. Have a second factor or third factor required to move your money. This is an incredible innovation that is possible in Bitcoin based on principles that have always been around, right? There was the 4I principles for banks, for example, since a long time. But now you can have the same and even better security than banks and financial institutions used to enjoy in the past. And finally, have secure backups, physical backups, right? Electronic devices can break. So make sure that you have backups in the real world, on paper or on steel, that keeps all of your secrets such that you are sure that you don't lose access to your Bitcoin. As critical as digital hacks or $5 wrench attacks are, the most common way that people lose their Bitcoin is by forgetting passwords, right? Or losing access to 12 words. So you're often your own greatest enemy when it comes to physical and digital security of your Bitcoin. So just make sure that you're protected against yourself as well. So let's talk about hardware wallets. These are cold storage devices, and there's now a plethora of different options. Right? We have here, for example, the Cold Card, the latest iteration of the CoinKite hardware wallet producer. It has a big, nice keyboard that you can use to type in a strong passphrase. We have the Foundation Passport. They're here represented at as the booth as well, so go check them out. It's quite a secure device as well. And it's cool because this one looks like the Nokia device. This one looks like a BlackBerry. This is easy to travel across borders with these devices. They don't really look like a hardware wallet. And we have here the Blockstream Jade Plus, the most recent edition. And all three of these devices, you can actually use air-gapped. Meaning that you don't physically plug in the hardware wallet to a computer that's connected to the internet. You transfer data in and out of these devices via QR codes or NFC taps. Right? So this is a quite cool solution. Of course, Trezor, sponsor of this event, is also a quite excellent choice, and they've invented the category of the hardware wallet and spawned this entire industry and have continued to innovate quite a lot, which is amazing. But here we come to one of my favorite new devices. This was first introduced in BTC Prague 2 years ago. And now, 2 years later, we have the second edition of the Seat Hammer. This is an automatic steel engraver, where you can, in 30 seconds, engrave your seat words, your QR codes in steel. This is an absolute game changer. If any of you has ever tried to stamp your words into steel, you know that it's tedious, it's slow, it's loud, and quite annoying. And it's easy to make a mistake and then you have to start all over again. Let the robot do the job for you. And even better, with this device, we no longer have to just write our 12 words down. Now we can engrave encrypted backups. You can engrave a Shamir secret share, for example, such that you need 3 out of 5 steel plates in order to move your money, which is great. So with this, we can start layering security on top of each other, building layers of defense, making sure that one failed device or compromised location does not lead to the loss of money. So use a passphrase. This is a seed extension, your 25th word, right? And keep that in memory or write it in a password manager, such that if someone gets your 12 words, they don't have your money yet. Don't reuse passwords. That's another critical mistake that most people do. Do not just have an insecure password, like the name of your dog and his birthday, right? But to use that same password on many different services. It's quite common that one of these services gets hacked and leaks your passwords to the darknet and third parties, and then your other accounts are compromised as well. So this is why password managers are critical. They enable you to create random and secure passphrases and then make sure that you actually remember them or that the computer remembers them for them. So trust but verify, right? Trust is good, verification is better. It's difficult to live in a world without any trust, but it's better that you have the ability to verify for yourself. So this is where free and open source software comes in. Software where you can read the source code, or some of your trusted friends can read the source code. This all starts with the operating system of your computer. If you're using Windows, I'm sorry to tell you, but this is not a secure environment. There's been screenshots made of everything that you see, categorized with AI and logged probably on some Microsoft server. And it has continuously gotten worse in terms of security and privacy, and the trend is likely to continue. So switch to a free and open alternative. Graphene OS is the most powerful and secure operating system for the mobile environment. So ditch your iPhone and use a new device that is built from the ground up to keep you secure and to keep you private. Start9 is an incredible company that builds plug-and-play full-node solutions. So you'll have a nice small home server that you can put into your bedroom or your office, and this will run not only your Bitcoin full node so that you can privately find out how much money you have and where you can spend it. This is also a way that you can, for example, run Nextcloud. This is a replacement of Google Drive or iCloud, where you can store your family pictures, not unencrypted on Google's server, which they might, withhold your access from or just snitch on others on what type of pictures you have or get hacked. This is where you have all of your data securely in your own environment. Start9, fantastic, right? So here comes my company, Sound Money Solutions. We try to sell peace of mind. Right? I want you to sleep well at night, knowing that your digital life is well protected. Not only your Bitcoin holdings, but your entire digital footprint. And we've created 10 different modules that take you step by step on your journey. And we start with Bitcoin basics. So regardless if you're a newcomer or if you're a seasoned psychopath, you know that the rabbit hole goes deep and that it's quite good to have someone hold your hand and get you to ask the right questions, and then give you some additional information on why Bitcoin is actually so important. Of course, you learned a lot here at this conference, but this continues, right? So this is your opportunity to ask some basic questions about Bitcoin. The second step is so important, identifying risks. asking yourself, what do you have, right? What do you want to protect? Whom do you want to protect it from? Who are your adversaries? And who are your allies, the people whom you can trust in your quest of protecting your assets? Right? This is critical questions to ask, just so that you know what is your current situation. And for example, can you leave a hardware wallet backup at your mom's place? Right? Or questions like this are quite important. Next, we go into secure devices. We help you install the Graphene OS operating system on your newly acquired phone and set it up for you, right, step by step. And again, we don't do it for you, we do it with you. So we give you some resources on which steps are necessary to take and are there to answer any questions that you might have. Here then, number 4 is passwords. Again, the most important, probably the arguably most important step of your digital life is to generate and remember secrets. Right? And humans are notoriously bad at both of those things. Right? We don't come up with random numbers, and we definitely forget large random numbers very easily. So let the software help you. Right? This is where password managers come in. KeyPass is a wonderful solution. Bitwarden, which you can self-host on your own Start9 server. We also talk about privacy. Right? Again, privacy is integral for security. And if you would put your 12 words on Twitter, then you cannot expect Bitcoin to be secure. Bitcoin is only secure if you take your privacy seriously and don't leak sensitive information to untrusted third parties. Of course, we help you set up your full node with the Start9 server. From start to finish, this is already a quite easy process. Might sound scary, and it was scary to do 5 years ago, but since then the Bitcoin industry has innovated so much on making it accessible and easy for you to run your own home server, so that Bitcoiners are probably the #1 population to actually have a home server in the first place. Right? It's incredible. Hopefully soon, home servers will be as prevalent as routers are. Then next is the steps to create and generate private keys. We dedicate an entire module to this, again, because it is just so important to make sure that you have a good strategy on how to generate these private keys and how to keep them securely. And most important, number 8, backups. Again, this is the #1 threat to your Bitcoin, is your own negligence in backing them up securely. This is where the seed hammer comes in, where we walk you through on how exactly to do this, how to use Shamir secret sharing or other advanced backup strategies on steel or paper or whatever you have at your disposal. And finally, at step 9, we start to talk about the tools to create your own wallet. Right? Most people start with creating their own wallet without thinking about steps 1 to 8. And that means that you might not be just perfectly prepared. But after these 8 modules, in the 9th module, we finally bring this all together and connect your 3 hardware wallets to the software wallet called Nunchuck that runs on your Graphene OS phone, where you can then start to manage your 2 out of 3 wallet and receive your first Bitcoin into quite a secure setup. And finally, planning ahead. Right? This is the inheritance part. We are building multi-generational wealth with an asset that cannot be inflated, that cannot be confiscated. Most of the Bitcoin that you have are not for you. They're for your children and great-grandchildren. Right? So make sure that when you pass, your Bitcoin don't go with you, that you have the ability, or that your heirs have the ability to securely and legally use your Bitcoin. Right? This is not just a technological problem of making sure that your secrets get transferred to your heirs only after the time of your death, but it's also a legal question, because possession does not equal ownership. And your heirs might actually get into trouble if they spend coins that they don't have legal title to. So we will work together with your estate planner to make sure that he understands the technologies of Bitcoin and that we together craft an inheritance strategy that works for you in your situation and in your jurisdiction. Inheritance is inherently a personalized problem, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution. So this is where we come in to really help you on asking the right questions, not for yourself, but also with your inheritance planner. So here we have different packages that start from the very beginning of simply making a quick checkup on your existing setup. Most likely you know what you're doing a bit, and I've met many people who have a fantastic setup, so we're then just there to review it a little bit with you, make sure to make it just a little bit better. Even if you have a good setup 5 years ago, it absolutely makes sense to make a checkup every other year or so and to get a little bit better. You don't need to become full paranoid, build a bunker, and hide your multi-jurisdictional, multi-sig secrets. But if you every year improve your setup just a little bit, you'll be incredibly well protected within a couple years. The middle setup is where we actually start to get into multi-signature. Multi-sig is not necessary for everyone. A secure 12-word plus long passphrase is good enough for many use cases, especially because it is quite simple and difficult to lose access. But multi-sig is an incredible technology that you should definitely consider for a more substantial amount of wealth, either for your own person and especially for your company. But ultimately, the big package is where we go through all those 10 modules that I just talked to a minute ago, where we start from beginning to end and give you a big box of all the hardware that you could possibly need, including 5 hardware wallets, a new phone, the full node, the seat hammer, SD cards, Faraday bags, privacy screen protectors, and everything. So yeah, this is the service that we provide. So if you'd like to have a consultation, to have a quick look over your initial setup and then see what of our offerings would fit you, feel free to scan the QR code and book a consultation. And we still have a couple minutes, so I'd love to hear some of your questions. We'll have a mic running around, so raise your hand if you have any question, and then up here first row, and then we can go a bit more in detail with what you'd like to hear.
Max, thank you very much. It was a great presentation. I just want to clarify the password manager because it's so important. You had a slide that said that the recovery phrase should be kept in the password manager. And I'd just like to chat about that because I disagree that the recovery phrase of the 1224 words should not be kept in the password manager.
I guess this depends, right? And with a lot of the security thing, there is no perfect or right way to do it. It really depends on your own setup. So what should definitely not be the case is that your 12 words and your passphrase are in a password manager. Because those two secrets together are required to move your Bitcoin, so they shouldn't be kept in the same location, either physically or digitally, right? But so what a password manager is basically, it's an encrypted file. Right? It's a database where you have the name of the passphrase and then the actual passphrase itself and the service that you use. And that is encrypted with your password to the password manager. Right? So I would say, depending again on where you store it, right? You can have a password manager on an offline phone, for example. You can have a password manager that's backed up on an SD card or a USB stick, right, physically. You can have it running on your own Start9 full node server with Bitwarden, right, or synchronized across your devices. And in such a case, to be honest, I think it's all right, as long as you have a secure passphrase to your password manager. But of course, it might be preferable to only have your passphrase encrypted or engraved in steel via the seat hammer, and then only have it physically. But I do think that encryption and password managers are actually work, and they are an important part of the toolkit, depending on how paranoid you are and how exactly you set it up. Next question. 5th row. Make it a short one. We don't have much time, I just see.
Okay. I use Bitwarden on Windows. Is that safe? I'm always worried about that piece where my Bitwarden is open in Windows or where I type in my Bitwarden password.
Yes, one of the downsides of a password manager is that it's your central honeypot. If someone gets access to your password manager, they get all the passwords that are in there. Right? And so if you type on an unsecure device, which unfortunately Windows is, there might be a keylogger that gets your passphrase up to the password manager, right? And then they can log into the Bitwarden server to get it. There might be a screen logger that sees all of the passwords that you're unblinding. So my recommendation here would be to move to a secure operating system like Linux. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Secure your BTC Prague 2026 ticket at the lowest possible price now.